Chris Crock Show on News Talk 820 WBAP and now on FM at 93.3. Hour number 3. Can you believe it, y'all? Well, here we are. It's amazing. The polls are insane. Trump beating Nikki Haley in Texas by 61 points, beating her in her home state of South Carolina by, 36? It's just unbelievable. So I think it's time for her to get out. I mean, it's just the writing's on the wall. There's just no way. And, 35%. She's losing by 35 points in her home state, and in Texas by 61 points. Good night, sister. Meantime, Trump will stay on the Illinois primary ballot. They really try to get him off, but he will stay. That came out today. This is total lawfare in every way coming from the Democrat Party because they're afraid Trump's going to beat him. It's obvious now, which makes everybody want to vote for Trump. A lot. Even people that would never vote for him before, or at least we're never going to vote for him again. But they have to now. They're like, I can't let this happen. This is exactly why people have just gone nuts for the guy. New York Times headline today, Nikki Haley can do a lot of damage. And that's basically all she's left to do now is just have damage on Trump so that she can make sure Joe Biden keeps the office and destroys our country more than he already has. In meantime, I want to add one more thing here in a second. Twitter Files reporter Matt Taibbi uncovers a plot to stop Trump. I'll give you some details from that in a bit, but first, in a few minutes. But first, I want to go to your call at 800-288-WBAP. Chime in right now at 800-288-9227. Do you think Trump is the Republican presidential candidate, or do you actually think Nikki Haley somehow still has a chance and should stay in the race? I honestly think it's ridiculous at this point. She can stay in the race, but I think it's absolutely ridiculous. I think she's embarrassing herself. And do you want Nikki Haley to step down now? I prefer she would. I think it's laughable that she's staying in, though. I really do. 800-288-WBAP. Chime in right now. 800-288-9227. 3 lines open. Let's go to, we got Mike and Bobby. We'll go to Mike first. You're on News Talk 820 WBAP and now on FM at 93.3. Make it a preset. Hi, Mike.
Hey, brother. Hey, one question before I start. Did you really just play a Rhino Shield commercial on hold waiting to talk about Nikki Haley? Because I need some of that.
That's very funny. Unfortunately, Rhino Shield will protect your house, but it will not stop Nikki Haley.
It won't stop her. It won't stop John Cornyn. It won't stop Kay Granger.
That's
okay.
exactly right. Spot on. Those are asterisks. Those are asterisks that are on the label. Hey, we don't stop people like this. Go ahead.
I got you. Nikki Haley is nothing more than the death throes of the establishmentary Bush sellout rhino scumbag rat scum. You know what I'm talking about. They got to go. They fell flat with DeSantis. They got behind him. He puked out. And then they propped her up at the last second, and she's puking out even harder. They're just desperate. They're just anybody but Trump. They're just worthless. The only thing that remains to be seen is whether they're going to get behind Trump or whether they're going to take their bat and ball and go home and pout like the crybabies that they are.
I don't think Nikki Haley will ever get behind Trump.
No, I don't think she will, but I'm talking about the people that are she's nobody. Nikki Haley can't. The New York Times wishes she could do damage.
Yes.
She can't do a thing.
Well,
the establishmentary party, or the rhinos, are the ones that can do the damage by staying home and not supporting the candidate of their party.
I agree, and here's where you know she's done. When a week ago we were reading about the Democrat power donor, I can't remember his name, he donated massive amounts to her, and he said he was done. And then several top rhino-type establishment donors, mega donors, also publicly said, I'm done. They say there's no path, there's no momentum, it's over, I'm done. They all pulled out. That when the money's gone and you can't win the polls, you're done.
What's the worst part, though, Chris? There never was a path for her to win. They don't want to admit it.
I thought there could be.
Arrogant.
Not that I didn't want her, but I thought there could be.
No chance. No chance. Listen, I'm involved in some. I won't tell you what position I occupy, but I'm involved in politics, and it's everywhere. You can, and here's the worst part. This is the thing. We cannot defeat the Democrats until we defeat the disloyal traitors within our own stinking party. That's our biggest problem right now. They're worse than the Democrats.
I don't mind. I think you're right about that, but I don't mind saying I didn't want Trump. He was not my first or second or third choice. But when it becomes obvious, you just tell her to step down. This is stupid. Eye
on the prize, people. I mean, we got too much at stake here. We can't lose another election.
Why do you think
Trump? Country left.
Why do you think Trump is saying that? Let her stay in. He told him he put the kibosh on telling her to withdraw.
I really couldn't speak to that. I mean, Trump's an odd bird. Okay,
he probably doesn't want his name on it.
It may be. That may be. It may be as simple as that. I don't know. But look, the guy is the right man for the job. I mean, is he abrasive? Is he obnoxious? Do I like the way he talks? No, I don't like any of that.
He's abrasive,
so what? I'm not
obnoxious.
hiring a spiritual advisor. I've got one of those.
That's right.
Okay? I'm hiring the guy to be president and run the job and unscrew up the country that these Marxists have destroyed and run straight into the ground, nose first.
And, Mike, as you know, I'm that spiritual advisor to you.
Yes, sir.
Take care, Mike. Have a great night. Great call, brother. All right?
Thanks, man.
Take care. Let's go to Bobby in Gainesville. You're on News Talk 820 WBAP and now on FM at 93.3. Hey, Bobby.
Hey, Chris. Thanks for taking my call.
Welcome.
Just real quick, I just wanted to say that I think Nikki Haley should stay in simply because of the fact that if the RNC takes her out or she's pressured to bow out, she'll play the victim card. I just feel like that's what she's going to end up doing. You know, if she gets in there and she gets her bohiny whipped enough, she drops out on her own volition and everything else. She'll go home. She'll immediately turn into a Nikki Cheney, I guess. But
yes,
I think it's time for her to learn a lesson. And I think it's like Mike said, and Mike put it very well about the rhinos in the Republican Party. I think they're the ones doing this, and of course the Democrats are backing her. But let her figure out that she gets whipped. And I think when she gets to South Carolina, she'll realize that she's gotten whipped, and that's it. I think it's good for the party. I think it's good.
It's good because why? Because it shows who the leader is and who the party wants, and therefore it does it legit to the end?
Absolutely. There's no question after he whips her in the primary and everything else and all these caucuses and stuff that he is, in fact, the leader of the Republican Party.
I think I got you now. Let it be legit. I think I got you now. Let it be legit. Let it play out naturally, and let her get her butt whooped. But let me ask you something else.
Yes.
Do you really think that Nikki Haley is going to stick around to get destroyed in the one place she has her claim to fame to and her pedigree for, her home state?
That's my hope. I know it's going to distract.
But do you really think she will stay in to get horribly beaten in her home state? Do you really think she would stay in for that? Or do you think she'll drop out right before it so that she doesn't have the insane, embarrassing defeat?
I really hope she stays in, but I really feel like that she'll quit right before, because she looks at the polls just like everybody else.
Gosh, yeah.
So she knows, and I think she'll drop out right before then. But it's better for her to make the decision than anybody else.
Mm-hmm.
I think that'll send a message.
You know what I want to know? This is beyond weird to me. Like, I hear different things. Okay, yeah. So the Nevada Republican presidential primaries is supposedly Tuesday, February 6th to the 8th.
Right.
So that's coming first, and I don't understand why everybody's just saying South Carolina's next, her home state. So I think she's going to lose in Nevada too, even though it's a moderate state. Her only hope was Maine, and she lost, or New Hampshire, excuse me, and she lost.
Yes.
And
right.
I don't think she's going to win Nevada. I think after Nevada she'll get out. That's my guess. Yeah. Appreciate your call, Bobby. All right, Cindy in Arlington, we'll talk to you coming up next on the Chris Crock Show. Plus, I'm going to give you a little update from Matt Taibbi today, uncovering a plot to stop Trump through his own new reporting, and I'll share the highlights from that coming up next. Plus the call from Cindy, plus your call at 800-288-WBAP, 800-288-9227. Do you think Trump is the Republican presidential candidate, or do you actually think Nikki Haley somehow still has a chance and should stay in the race? And do you want Haley to step down now? That's next on the Chris Crock Show, News Talk 820 WBAP, and now on FM at 93.3. Chris Crock Show on News Talk 820 WBAP, and now on FM at 93.3. Matt Taibbi uncovering a plot to stop Trump. He outlines in his brand new work today in a 4,000-page article. The Democrat establishment already engaged in systematic effort to ensure Biden remains in the White House. One effort, part of it is his lawsuits in a number of states to get him off the ballot. This is all from every angle. Orange man, get him out. Put him in jail. Anything, everything. Coordinate with DAs in New York City and in Georgia. Tell them what to prosecute, what the charges to bring up. Coach them. And they did, and they are. And the White House records prove that both Alvin Bragg and Fani Willis were there. And they were counseled. The White House tells them what to do, and they want to win big points with the leader of the Democrat Party, and they are. They're ruining their country and their state and justice by literally. This is the most vile, reprehensible third world country tactic, and Joe Biden, the Democrat Party, happy to do it. Taibbi lays it bare more in his story. They talk about the lawsuits to remove him from the ballot. Another one, ensuring Biden has no serious primary threat. They've threatened would-be challengers, it says in his story. Meanwhile, corporate media launched a propaganda campaign to convince the people Trump would be a dictator if he wins this fall. Pundits, journalists, in unison hammering that line that he is an existential threat to democracy. He would use the military to go after his personal enemies, they say. Most chillingly, Taibbi says, this was in AMAC's journalist coverage of this today, too, truncating his story. Taibbi describes seeing the same sort of effort before. Major news outlets in the months up to 2020 election, they had a transition integrity project that comprised of two top players in Democrat circles, Jennifer Granholm, Hillary Clinton, and John Podesta, as well as, quote, normal conservatives, anti-Trump fanatics, gathered in war game to run out election scenarios, coming up with all the strategies to take this man out and how they can stop him. Freaking incredible. Absolutely incredible. And that's what our last caller was talking about with the rhinos and going after and trying to destroy Trump because they can't handle the man and him telling the truth. Let him serve his last term, and he'll run the Republican Party still, but let him serve. Let him finish. You're not going to beat him. 800-288-9227. Chime in right now at 800-288-9227. Do you think Trump is the Republican presidential candidate, or do you think Nikki Haley somehow still has a chance and should stay in the race? And do you want Nikki Haley to step down now? She's losing in Texas by 61 points. She beats Biden in Texas by only, 6 points? But Trump beats him by 9. No, she beats him by 4. And Trump beats him by 9. And then in her home state of South Carolina, Trump's beating her by 35 points now. I think it was a 36. Who's counting at that point? It's just insane, guys. 35 points she's losing now, up from 31. Cindy in Arlington, you've called in at 800-288-WBAP. Hello, Cindy.
Hi, Chris. Nice to talk to you again.
Good to talk to you.
Excellent. There's no stopping President Trump. He's going to destroy her, and she's so proud that she won't even step down, but she needs to so that the real work can get started. Because something that he often says, that I hear all the time at rallies or wherever he's at, if he's not elected, the country's done. And that resonates with so many people. I have so many friends that voted for that idiot, and they've all said never again. They learned their lesson. And I find it interesting. I think it was in New Hampshire a veteran went up to talk to her, and he said, "You're spending $100,000 on this or that, and you know how many veterans are homeless?" And
Right.
she said, "Oh, my husband's a veteran. Yeah, but he's also a millionaire." And he never addressed what the guy was saying. And, she just kept talking, and he finally slammed her. He said, "You can spend all that money. Trump's going to destroy you." And she said, "Get him out of here." That's the kind of person she is.
And she wants your name. She
no
wants you to
sense.
register to be on social media. And
Right.
she can't take somebody that is critical. And that's it. Get them out of here. She is no different than Joe Biden, like our previous caller said in the last segment. And guess what else too? I think she's worse. That's a good point. She's worse because do you remember
horrible.
she wants your name. She wants to vanquish her enemies. And I can't remember the other thing, but it was more, you know what it was? I know what it was. The big one I forgot was remember when the affairs came out, allegedly affairs. The Daily Mail did a report on this. We talked about it big time. It was the first thing we talked about one night when it came out a week or two ago. I think it was 2 weeks ago, a week ago. And it said that Nikki Haley, 2 people, the Daily Mail confirmed, signed sworn affidavits testifying to their affair with her while her husband was in the military at the time, in active duty, I believe. But they had affairs with her when she was the governor, I believe it was, or right when she was running for governor. And she was asked about it by the Daily Mail after they confirmed it with these 2 people, separate people that worked with her and were on the Republican circles there in power circles in South Carolina. And she literally, as soon as the Daily Mail asked her about it, they kicked her out and she banned them. And they're no longer allowed for the entire rest of her run in the Republican primaries. They're not allowed to access her. They're not even given passes anymore. That is a dictator, and that is someone you never want. Look at Trump. They treat him like crap. He doesn't ban any. I've never heard of him banning anybody. Have you?
No, but I do want to. I have a few comments.
Mm-hmm.
So she's one of those people that you can't trust, and she's not out for you. He's taking all the shots because he knows it can happen to you. That's why he's resonating all over the country. But something I find interesting is, with all these attacks on our military bases across the world in the Middle East, and what happened to these young men. Last I heard this morning before I went to work, Biden hadn't even picked up the phone, and
he just did today.
Much less.
But you're right. They didn't hear from him. They didn't hear from him, and they said they didn't. He just did today. He said he wanted to confirm that they were going to have a ceremony or something first. I don't know if that's true. Go ahead, real fast. We got 30 seconds.
We'll count how many times he looks at his watch.
Yes.
But nevertheless, but I want to add that people are seeing what's going on. Trump is a doer, and he takes action. None of those attacks would have ever happened on his watch. He would have taken care of it a long time ago. But they're pulling out all stops. They are so afraid of this guy because he's so powerful. Trump is more powerful than Biden right now.
Of course he is, and he's not even in the office. You're right.
And he's more powerful than Biden. I mean, it's a joke. People are referring him still to President Trump. But something that I found disturbing today, and I want to share this.
We got 5 seconds.
I am a big fan of Taylor Swift. I do love her. I think she's fantastic in concert.
I'm sorry.
But I understand that their campaign is going to go after to get her to sway people.
She ain't going to get nobody to vote for anybody. That's a joke.
And I hope she keeps it non-political.
No. The more she supports Biden, the more the people won't vote for her. They don't give a frog's fat, you know what, about her political stuff. She told everybody to vote for the Democrat against Marsha Blackburn, and she lost in her home state. As case closed. Got to roll. Thank you, Cindy. All right, coming up next, woman returns couch to Costco after 2.5 years. Sparks a viral reaction. We'll talk about that next to the Chris Crock Show. News Talk 820 WBAP and now on FM at 93.3. Oh, I love this story, and I wanted to make sure we had at least a half hour to get into it, you and I, and talk about this. Okay, I've been going to Costco without a membership up until about, 4 months ago, 5 months ago, maybe even 6 or 8 months ago. I don't know. We would go, my parents would come into town, they're members, and we would go. Or, my wife's, there's a family we're real close with, whose kids are best friends with my kids, the young girl and the 17-year-old girl and my 20-year-old boy and the boys. wonderful, warm, amazing relationship with these two kids and with the family. Anyway, so she would go. She's not Russian, she is Moldovan. Our Moldovan friend with a heavy accent. She's quite a character in a riot, and a great friend. But so they went today, actually. But we got our own membership for obvious reasons, because eventually we're like, okay, yes. We broke down, and we said, okay, we can do it with the space, and we do. We really get the right things we need. Not everything, by all means. Probably about 15 things every 2 weeks or so. Maybe 20 things. But there's a whole bevy of things you can get for really good prices. But I didn't know how. I know they're a really wonderful company for the most part. I didn't realize their return policy. It's a 100% satisfaction guaranteed return policy with very few restrictions. But this is absolutely ridiculous. A woman returned a couch after having it for over 2.5 years. And she claims the reason why she's returning it is the color. That simply is it. She shared, a woman named Jackie shared, this is on Fox News, a couch from Costco over 2.5 years ago, and she put it on TikTok, and the video has 3 million views. She says she was nervous to return it to the warehouse store, felt intimidated by other shoppers staring at her while she's waiting in line. But who cares, she says, return it. They have an awesome return policy. Buy your furniture from Costco, girl. You can return it when you don't like it anymore. This woman makes my skin crawl. This woman is a disgrace. Like, wouldn't you have shame in returning it 2.5 years later because you don't like the color? My family doesn't like the color, she said. That is literally it. You know what happened, don't you? What that means, what that tells me is here's exactly what I think happened. She changed the color scheme of her room that the couch is in. She changed the colors on the wall. That's all. You know that? It's like my wife. I'm like, are you kidding? She's like, I want to paint this room again. I'm like, excuse me, what? We just did it like 4 or 5 years ago. No. I want to do it. I'm like, no. And it's the perfect color. It's like one of my favorite colors. And she's talking about, I'm like, no, we agreed. We did it. It's light in a room that's darker, our living room. And now she wants, I'm like, oh my gosh. So you know what? You get a couch that's a certain color, you return it because you changed the color and the scheme in the room. That's exactly what happened. And she has no shame, and she thinks it's okay. So do you think this is wrong? I want you to chime in right now at 800-288-WBAP, 800-288-9227. Do you think Costco should have said no to a woman returning a couch after 2.5 years because her family, quote, doesn't like the color anymore? Doesn't like the color, that's all. Do you believe her when she says her family didn't like the color, or do you think she just decided to change the colors in the room maybe overall, and the couch didn't fit her new color scheme, as I believe? That's what I think. And do you think she and others might ruin it for the rest of us with Costco's generous return policy? 800-288-WBAP is our number, 800-288-9227. Chime in right now at 800-288-9227. She didn't have the receipt anymore, Fox reports. But the employee was able to locate her order on their store computer. She said she's returning the couch because the family didn't like the color anymore. That's it. Anymore. And they gave her a full refund for the purchase. What do they do with this thing? I mean, they're going to give it to a family. They're going to give it to a place for the local, what do you call it? Like the local resale shop or something. Hopefully it's at like a St. Vincent de Paul's or something. You know what I mean? Something, or a Salvation Army or Goodwill thing, or something that's going to help people that are less, in need. This is ridiculous, and this is embarrassing, and I could never do this. Now, here's where I could do it, and it's very dangerous for the story to get out, in my opinion, for Costco. Because now, if somebody's like, yeah, I never should have bought this, a year later, just return it. One woman said, that is just effing wrong. You use something, you loved it for your kids, your animals, and the whole family, and used it for 2.5 years just because there's a little loophole in the store's policy. You think it's morally right to take that couch back and get a full refund for it for a used item there was nothing wrong with. If there was some kind of a wear and tear, normal wear and tear thing, and it's starting to fall apart, I think that's, if they'll do it, then great. But this takes real stones, real ovaries, right, to do something like this. Chime in right now at 800-288-9227. That's 800-288-WBAP. Do you actually think Costco should have just said no to a woman returning a couch 2.5 years after she bought it because she doesn't like the color? Do you believe her that she just suddenly had a change of heart, or do you think she's just changing the scheme in her house and says, I'm going to... Now she's going to buy another couch. She's going to return it in 4 years. Dang. But, man, this makes me want to buy everything from Costco. And that way I'm never going to be worried. I'm just going to return it. If I don't like it. But this is ridiculous. I could not do this. My wife wouldn't let me do this. She couldn't do this, and I couldn't do it. It's stealing, really. It's something that's shameful. 800-288-WBAP is our number. Other people say her reaction to over 15,000 comments, 2 million views, Fox says. Top commentators agreed with this was an abuse of the liberal store return policy. You are not wrong. People abuse Costco's great return policy. I work for Costco. Don't get me started, said another. My husband works for Costco and says the company receives money from all of the return items. I'm not ashamed to return my items. Oh, so now it's, they get money for it. Wow. Dang. Here we go. This is another great BS excuse for people to make themselves feel better when they know they're wrong. Quote, they are a multi-billion-dollar company. The amount of returns they get probably doesn't touch the amount of profits. See, they're so rich and filthy and have all this money. Screw them. Yeah. Dude, do you have any morals? Do you have any conscience? Look, this isn't the end of the world, but this is totally wrong. Come on. They have you can't touch the amount of profits that they have, so it's not that big of a deal. Why are we caring so much about this huge corporation, about money they make, when we all literally are like dirt poor compared to them? We should get our money's worth and get our money back if we can. I would totally do the same. Shame on you, ma'am. Shame on you. Hope you don't have kids. Right? Dang. Oh, my gosh. That's what's wrong with America in a nutshell. Meantime, Joe Biden, article in NBC the other day saying that Joe Biden is confident the economy's chugging along now, so they feel confident that the economy's not an albatross or a millstone around their neck. But then comes today, a Seattle woman, 25 years of age. She earns $100,000 a year. And she says she cannot afford simple luxuries like meals out and the gym. She says she has to downgrade her lifestyle to cope with soaring costs of living. A woman earning $100,000 a year says her salary is not enough to be able to have meals out anymore. Her and her husband both work in the tech industry, bringing home a combined salary of $200,000, and they have to cut back on on just basic living. $200,000. Wow. Could you imagine making $200,000 in North Texas? Wouldn't that be great, even with this economy? All right, we're going to get to that one coming up next on the Chris Crock Show on News Talk 820 WBAP and now on FM at 93.3. Chris Crock program, News Talk 820 WBAP, now on FM at 93.3. All right, Seattle woman, 25, earns $100,000 a year. Husband earns, or her boyfriend, whatever, I don't know. Her husband. All right, they're married. That's good. They both make a combined. They make $100,000 each, and their combined is $200,000, and they literally can't afford to just eat out anymore. In Joe Biden's America. No. Here, they used to spend around $4,000 a month. $2,738 for the 2-bedroom apartment, $1,100 plus on bills, $200 on groceries, $300 on dining out. Now, she says, I consider my husband and I to be middle class, and they make $200,000. Wow. I mean, I suppose you are actually. You're not upper middle class, but that's just that's upper middle class to me, pulling down $200 a year. We live in a greater Seattle area. We both had 9-to-5 jobs in the tech industry. We're earning over $100,000. We started to earn more money. We treated ourselves a lot more, but not anymore. She's paring it all back. That's amazing, isn't it? So, that shows you the Bidenomics and Joe Bidenflation. And then we have this. More than 15% of millennials are living back at home with their parents, with some metro areas seeing more than a quarter of 26 to 41-year-olds living at home with mom and dad. More than a quarter of 26 to 41-year-olds. Holy gosh. That's mind-boggling. This is the most recent census statistics. Whew. We're in an economy where it's harder to live independently. I hate to say it, but I mean, I just think that's absolutely correct. Adults recognize it is tough these days. Here we go. Look at this, you guys. Oh, there's some in Texas. There's 2. Age 26 to 41, living with one or both parents in metro areas of 250,000 or more. Brownsville, 27.5%. Whoa! Lubbock, 7.3%. That's just a couple on there from Texas. Brownsville came in second place at 27.5%. My gosh, what's going on with that? My understanding is that's a poor area. I don't know from personal experience, but that's my understanding. That's amazing. That's profound. So here's what I want to say about that, though. Look, my son is in college, and he'll probably be graduating in after next year, a full year. Could be one extra semester. And I think the young man should stay at home as long as he's in college. And I don't mind if he lives at home for a year or two out of college if he has to get his feet on his, get his financial position together. I also don't mind if something happens and they lose their job or something like that and they come home. That's fine. I mean, as long as you're working and you're working on getting your job, if you lost your job, things happen. But as a plan beyond 2-3 years out of college, if you're saving money, the answer should be no. You got to figure this out. And my young man wants to leave as soon as he can with his soon-to-be wife in the next year and a half. He wants to marry. They've been together for 4 years, I think, now. And I'll just leave it at that. Won't give away the farm. But now I wanted to do something else, too. This is an exclusive from the Daily Wire. Wheel of Privilege. Who would like to spin the Wheel of Privilege? It's in an employee kitchen, and an employee was so disturbed by the Wheel of Privilege on display at their break room right off of Main Street, USA in Anaheim, California, Disneyland, that they took a picture, sent it to the Daily Wire, and the Daily Wire did a story on it. And as soon as the Daily Wire reported on it, the next day, it's gone. The Wheel of Privilege is gone. Come on. What happened to the Wheel of Privilege? You can see a picture of the Wheel of Privilege on my Twitter feed, at Chris Crock Show. You got to follow me on Twitter, at Chris Crock Show, CHRISKROK. That's CHRISKROK. Take a look at that Wheel of Privilege, or as I like to call it, the Wheel o' Privilege. There it is. 15 hours ago, I retweeted it. Disney's Wheel of Privilege. It's called the Wheel of Power / Privilege. And there's examples of privilege. What is privilege? Why should we accept that we have privilege? And then today, it's gone. There's a blank, empty space on that whole half. And then next to it says, Happy Lunar New Year, Year of the Dragon. There you go. And there's the Mulan dragon in there. Well, if you are a white cisgender male, which means straight, they got to use big words to sound like they're special people that know what they're talking about when they don't. And even speaking English means you have unearned privilege that your marginalized coworkers do not, according to this report. If you're white and straight and you speak English, you have unearned privilege. The word power is in the middle of the section of a dartboard-like shaped thing. And if you're a white and straight and you own property and you speak English, you are privileged. While being dark-skinned and transgender and homeless and not speaking English, you are considered marginalized. If you're a person of color, trans, or homeless, or don't speak English, any of those, you are marginalized. You are a victim. You are a victim. And then you and I would be the oppressors if we're white and straight, which I am. By the way, I retweeted a story tonight from the Bee, what's called the Bee, the funny Babylon Bee. California has banned straight marriages. They have banned it. The Babylon Bee reported today. It's on my Twitter feed. You can see it for yourself. At Chris Crock Show. In between inner and outer circle, very complicated wheel of privilege, would be considered not completely marginalized, but not totally privileged either. Straight woman, gay men, people with a high school education, you learn English, you're partially privileged. See how complicated this is? It's not easy, folks. Definition of privilege. Unearned access or advantage granted to specific groups of people because of their membership in a social group. It can be based off a variety of social things. Economic status, religion, gender. See, if you're privileged. The poster also asks, why should we accept that we have privileges? By accepting we have privileges, we can see that not everyone sees from the world from our own perspective. We have privileges in our life that have hindered awareness of the world. Who wouldn't want to work for Disney? You could be shamed. Who wouldn't want to sign up for this? Who wouldn't want to sign up to be shamed? Shame! Poster asks, why should we accept that we have privileges? By accepting this, we can see that not everyone sees the world from our perspective. We have privileges in our life that have hindered our awareness of life. The employee said divisive materials like this are destroying the magic of the park. I'm shocked.